What's up guys, my name is Ace, and a few days ago, as I'm sure all of you guys are aware, Infinity Ward finally showed some gameplay off of Modern Warfare's 2v2 gunfight mode. And in those live streams, which were done by Legion, Syndicate, Courage, as well as TP, we got to see a pretty good selection of weapons and attachments and equipment that you can use within Modern Warfare. So today, I compiled everything that we saw from that day, as well as a few extras that I remember playing with my playtime at the Infinity Ward studio a couple months ago, to give you guys the most comprehensive list of confirmed weapons, attachment, and equipment that you can use. Keep in mind, especially with these live streams last week, they really kept this build quite limited. I can tell you from personal experience, the weapon list that you saw on these streams doesn't even scratch the surface of what will be in the full build of Modern Warfare. And like I said, I'll be sharing a couple guns that you guys didn't see on this live stream that I distinctly remember playing within the gunfight mode, because I am allowed to talk about my experience within gunfights, but nothing outside of that yet. So let's first cover the guns that appeared within the live streams. Keep in mind, if you want to see the original source, I will leave a link to the streamers down below and you can check out their VODs. So for assault rifles, we saw the FR556, which is the FAMAS. This is a 3-round burst assault rifle, or who knows, maybe they'll end up having like tactical rifles again like Black Ops 4. We don't know for sure what category these guns were in. We are kind of left to guess, but at the same time, it is fairly obvious with a lot of these. And also on that particular class setup, we saw the Model 680 shotgun as our secondary, so that is one confirmed shotgun. And this also seems to confirm that shotguns are going to be secondaries. That's not to say that they didn't have some classes that were obviously like an overkill class where you have two primary weapons. I will just say though that the shotguns appeared as secondaries a lot throughout these classes, and therefore that does lead me to believe that shotguns will be secondaries in this game. Next up in the assault rifle class, we have the AUG, which appeared a couple times. And for the secondary weapons, this was a very popular one. This pistol was the M19, and this is basically used as the default class as well. In the mode that they played, where they had to scavenge items, they would start off with this pistol. After that, for assault rifles, we have the L86A2, and once again with the secondaries, we see a new secondary weapon here. This is the 50GS, which is the Desert Eagle. And finally, we do see an M4A1, however, this didn't appear as one of the classes they used. This only appeared in that scavenging mode, but it was definitely there. And that's all we saw for the assault rifle category in these live streams. However, like I said, we played a different build of this game, and when I was playing 2v2, I distinctly remember an AK-47, that is definitely going to be in this game, as well as a SCAR H. So those two are definitely going to be coming to Modern Warfare as well, but that is not a comprehensive list. Unfortunately, those are just ones that I distinctly remember playing within 2v2. Next up, moving into the SMG category, of course, we've got an MP5 here, which was shown quite a bit throughout this live stream. Also, as a secondary weapon, we see our first launcher, which is the RPG-7. After that, in the SMG category, we also saw an MP7 throughout this, which I know a lot of you guys are going to be excited about. This had a ton of recoil from what I remember when I played with it. And those are the only SMGs that were showed off in these live streams. However, once again, a couple other SMGs I distinctly remember. Actually, only one that I remember for sure was the P90. I actually really liked the P90. I had a ton of fun with that. I actually felt most comfortable with the P90 when I was playing that within gunfight. And this next one, I'm not 100% sure about. My memory might be a little bit fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure I remember playing with an AK-74U as well. So if it turns out I'm wrong about that particular one, I apologize. Like I said, my memory might be a little bit fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure I played with an AK-74U while playing gunfight. Moving into the LMG category, we have the M91 LMG, and for another secondary weapon that we see for the first time here, we have the 725, which is a double-barrel over-under shotgun. Unfortunately for LMGs, that was the only one that we saw throughout these live streams, and honestly, thinking back to it, I can't remember playing with any other LMGs. I know I played with that one when we were playing gunfight, but I don't remember playing with any others. Of course, that doesn't mean that there's only one LMG in Modern Warfare. That would be just ridiculous, but it really didn't show up too much when we were playing 2v2. This just brings us to sniper rifles, and the first one is the AX50, which we definitely saw most often within the live streams. And this one looks to be a very powerful sniper rifle with a really solid one-hit kill potential. And then we also saw an M14, which could end up being in a sniper rifle category, or it could end up being in like a marksman rifle category if they follow suit with some of their previous games. But in either case, we did see the M14 as well. Once again, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other sniper rifles or marksman style rifles that we played with at this event. I definitely remember playing with the M14 because it was quite difficult to control. But aside from that, that's everything that we have confirmed, although there is one other gun I'd like to add to this list, we definitely played with a 1911 at some point while playing Gunfight. So that's another pistol that is confirmed. So that right there is currently the most complete and accurate list of confirmed weapons for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. There are a lot of other guns that have been leaked that may end up being in the game or may not end up being in the game, but these are all of the weapons that we've seen with our own eyes in the live streams, as well as those few weapons that I added that I personally have played with while playing Modern Warfare. Next up, I also wanted to point out the equipment that we saw within these live streams. For tactical equipment, we had stun grenades, flash grenades, and the stim shot, which, keep in mind, the stim shot is an equipment again, so it's kind of like Infinite Warfare. If you guys remember the stim shot from that game, what that one would do is it would just speed up your health recovery. It was still auto healing, but when you injected yourself with that stim shot, it would speed up the healing time for you. This appears to be how the stim shot will end up working within Modern Warfare as well. Keep in mind, in Gunfight, the healing mechanics are going to be much different compared to what we see in the standard modes, simply because there is no healing whatsoever in Gunfight, and that's just not going to carry over to the standard modes. As for the lethal equipment, we saw the Semtex, the frag grenade, Molotovs, throwing knives, claymores, and proximity mines. And the proximity mines look to be like bouncing betties, so when you get within their proximity, they will launch upwards in the air and then have a detonation radius. And that's quite interesting to see both claymores as well as proximity mines in the game again. That definitely brings back some Black Ops 2 vibes, where we had the combination of those equipments, where the bouncing betties would be good because they had a 360-degree radius. However, they were quite easy to counter because if you just crouched before they detonated, then you would be safe. So presumably that's how the proximity mines will work in this as well, whereas the claymores, they have a small angle that they cover, but if you set them off, it's going to be dealing damage to you. So that's what we saw for our lethal as well as tactical equipment. Already a pretty decent selection, although we will probably see some more tactical equipment because we only saw 3 throughout these live streams. Next, I wanted to get into all of the attachments that we saw during these live streams. Keep in mind, I don't remember at all when we were at the studio about attachments. We didn't have enough time to really dive into that kind of stuff. Plus, when it's 2v2 gunfight and you're just getting into the game for the first time, paying attention to the attachments that are popping up on the screen, it just wasn't happening at that time. So with attachments, I'll admit I'm pretty clueless, although it does seem like some things have changed because there seems to be some different variants of the same attachments. I don't know if these are just visual differences or if they will actually have statistical differences in game. But let's just start going through the list here. Some of these will be very recognizable, like laser sight, extended mags, reflex, holographic, and long barrel. But we also have muzzle brake as well as a compensator. We've got vertical foregrip as well as angled foregrip and a custom foregrip, so it seems like there's 3 different variations of foregrips that we saw here. Same thing goes with the stock attachment. We have the short stock, the heavy stock, and the lightweight stock. Once again, I don't know if these will do different things or if it's just like one of them's for SMGs, one's for assault rifles, one's for sniper rifles, for instance. On top of that, we have the sawed-off attachment or modification. This was just on the one shotgun, the 725 shotgun. And we also have long slide, which I'm not too sure what that one will end up doing. One last attachment that I almost forgot to mention here is something called Fast Up, and presumably that's either going to be like the quick draw replacement, because I didn't see quick draw anywhere else, so it'll help you aim down sight faster, or it might help with sprint out time, or who knows, maybe it will even do both. But with that, that's going to cover it for all of the attachments that we saw throughout these live streams. Like I said, unfortunately, I have nothing to add to these. I wish I could add something, even if it was just some idea of how these attachments behave and how they might be different from previous Call of Duties, but unfortunately, I just don't know. So that's everything that we managed to see within the live streams, as well as a few additions from my personal experiences. But one other thing I wanted to mention, especially as I was going through these gameplays piece by piece and looking really carefully at the builds and the attachments and everything, it does appear that the loadouts that they had were not 100% randomized. This is a question I got asked quite a bit. The loadouts were selected from a pool of loadouts that they had there, because we did see some of the same ones return a couple times throughout the play session with the exact same weapons, exact same equipment, as well as the exact same attachments. And if it were completely randomly generated, that would be extremely unlikely to happen. It also seems like these loadouts are tailored to the specific map. So in the Pine map, for instance, that was the only map where we saw the AUG loadouts. But in either case, they did reveal quite a few weapons and attachments as well as equipment, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more on August 1st, which will be the full reveal of multiplayer, or they said the entire universe, so I don't know exactly what that means. Honestly, I don't know what they mean by that, but we'll definitely find out as we get closer to that date. As for my thoughts on the guns, I think this is a great start. There's definitely more that I'd like to see, especially some like new modern guns that we haven't seen in like the previous Modern Warfare series. I'd love to see more of those return. And I do hope they manage to get licensing for a lot of the weapons, if not all of them. At this point, the actual names that they're using for the weapons are subject to change. They may actually change before launch. We've seen that in the past several times with Call of Duty. And I hope for a lot of the weapons that didn't have their proper names within this build, I hope we will actually see the proper names once we get to launch. But with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are you guys thinking about the weapon selection that we've seen so far in Modern Warfare? Keeping in mind, of course, that this is just a small set of the weapons that we'll have access to in the full build. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.